Then doom on you!
Get away from me!
Yesterday, the animation industry received the terrible news that Disney would be shutting down Blue Sky Studios, who are behind beloved animated films such as Ice Age, Rio, and Robots. There's honestly a lot to unpack about the situation, but I'll strive to condense everything as quickly as possible. When Disney first acquired Blue Sky Studios as a result of the Fox merger, a lot of people in and out of animation were skeptical. Would Disney absorb and shut down the competition? Or would they give Blue Sky the opportunity to prosper, allowing the studio to continue their legacy? Things seemed hopeful at first, Disney including Blue Sky Studio features in their animated slates. But now it seems like a lot of animated studios and projects are just getting dicked, and at least in this case, the reasoning behind it is the ongoing pandemic. To recite this Deadline article, one can say that the writing was always on the wall for Blue Sky, especially after Disney acquired 20th Century Studios and its assets in March 2019. However, the past year has been challenging for Disney on many fronts, of course due to the pandemic, not just on the studio side, but also with theme park closures and cruise line dockings. Sustaining a third feature animation studio is no longer viable for Disney given the current economic realities caused by COVID. The last day for Blue Sky will be in April. The number of Blue Sky employees being impacted numbers 450. Disney will be working with the employees at the Greenwich, Connecticut-based studio to explore open positions at other internal studios. A studio spokesperson told Deadline, "Given the current economic realities, after much consideration and evaluation, we have made the difficult decision to close filmmaking operations at Blue Sky Studios. The Blue Sky's library and IP will remain part of Disney, and Deadline hears there are no plans for another major studio to absorb Blue Sky's employees and operations. A series based on Blue Sky's Ice Age characters is already in the works for Disney+. Through 5 movies, the Ice Age series grossed $3.2 billion at the global box office. And of course, right next to 450 people losing their jobs, this next part is a huge punch to the gut. Production on the Patrick Osborne directed Nimona, which is dated for January 14, 2022, is being stopped and the film will no longer be released. Nimona, which had 10 months of production still left to complete, followed a young shapeshifter who teams with a mad scientist named Lord Ballister Blackheart to expose the ruler of the kingdom. Now, let's just unpack this for a second. Animated features take a long-ass time. I'll give you a hint. 10 months left for production? They were basically at the finish line. And while the general public may never know how much the pandemic has ravaged Disney, there's still a reason for concern on if this was the best call. Just like the abundance of Warner Media layoffs throughout the last year, these corporations are putting real human beings out of a job. People who have bills to pay, families to feed, debt to pay off. The timing could not have been any worse, especially when they're scrapping an animated film this late into the game. We also have to look at this from the perspective of a monopoly. Even before the pandemic, there were fears that Disney would control basically everything in the entertainment industry. With Blue Sky gone, we lose yet another studio with its own identity and approach to storytelling that stands out from Disney's assimilating brand. Not to mention, this means we've lost another major animation studio on the East Coast. Yay! Everything's in Hollywood, great! I get animation is expensive, but it's terrifying to see how much the conversation has changed from the start of quarantine. Going into this, animation lovers across the board, whether they were a consumer or working in the industry, were optimistic that live-action productions being interrupted would enable the growth of animation as a medium. And with the advent of these corporations getting in on streaming, it seemed like we had our own little beacon of hope. But money talks, and these bigwigs have made their own stance on animation very clear. And unfortunately, the visions do not line up. There's no way I could do the legacy of Blue Sky Studios justice in this news video. That would require a much bigger endeavor. But for now, I just want to say thank you. A lot of people got their start at Blue Sky, and their films meant a lot to a lot of people. Hell, growing up, films like Ice Age and Robots stuck with me just as much, if not more, than the Disney films. I'll never forget that Ice Age is one of the few animated films my mom would actually watch with me, and I can still see the DVD so clearly in my head. With its white case, extensive bonus features, and interactive menus, it's a relic of the past for sure. But these films did contribute to my own love for animation, and I can't imagine what the people at Blue Sky are going through right now. There's no way any of this is easy. I really hope another studio can pick up and finish Nimona. It's based off a graphic novel from Noelle Stevenson, showrunner of the recent She-Ra reboot. And while I'm unaware of how much involvement Noel actually had with this film, my heart goes out to them as well. I can't imagine having something so huge just taken away from you like that. Especially when you just spent years jumping through hoops to tell the story you wanted to tell in a Netflix reboot that Toy Company still had a grip on. But as always, I want to know what you guys think. What was your favorite Blue Sky film? Do you have any cherished memories associated with any of their films? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya!